draw our sunflowers for our vase. Now we're going to divide our paper holding it horizontally. We're going to draw a line down the middle. Now these are just guidelines to create a grid. And we're going to draw 3 verticals. 1, 2, 3. Now we have 8 rectangles. I want you to fit your sunflowers inside these 8 rectangles. Have fun. Use basic shapes from ovals, circles, triangles to create your custom sunflower designs. I'm going to start my first one with a big circle. I want to create petals coming out all the way to the edge of my rectangle. It's okay if some of them go over slightly into the other square. This is just a guide to help you draw sunflowers that are about the same size. Have fun, use different designs, but remember, we will be cutting them out after we color them in. All right, now I'm ready to grab whatever coloring supplies you have at home. Markers, crayons, keep them in the warm color tones of yellows, reds, and oranges. Have fun coloring them in. Remember, when coloring, color in the same direction for each section. Remember, it's okay to go outside the lines because we are going to cut these out. All right, I'm going to go back with my darker marker and add some detail. Make sure, if you are using markers, to let them dry first so they don't bleed together. Alright, I have finished coloring and adding some details to my flowers. The next step will be cutting out our flowers. Now before I want us to cut it out, just know we are going to be bending our flowers. I have one that I've already cut out over here to show you, okay? Now when we go to glue it down, we want the back to have some type of color. So when our flower petals are coming off the page, they're not just white on the back. So you can wait till you cut them out to do a texture rub or color the back, or a simple texture rub by just flipping it over. Grabbing a crayon without the wrapper on it, and just simply going across, whoopsies, in one direction. See what happens if you don't do it in one direction. Covering just to create a light color on the back side of your flowers. Now we're ready to start cutting our flowers. We're going to just cut our flowers into little rectangles, cutting in between each flower to make it easier to hold to cut out along our outside edge. All right, so now you're going to take small bites going around the outside design of the flower, rotating and slowly cutting away the outside. Now, if it's challenging for you to rotate as you go, if you just cut in, pull out, go from the other side and cut in, almost like cutting out little triangles. This might help. Then you can come back close to the line and keep cutting. Take your time as you cut. It's okay if some of the white still shows. We can always add more color once we're finished cutting. All right, 1 down, 7 to go. All right, I have my 8 flowers, and now I'm ready to put them to the side and get started on my vase and my background texture rubbings. All right, now we are ready to draw our vase and our background, including a horizon line for our flower collage. First, we're going to want to draw our horizon line lightly. Now, we're going to need to think about some math. We want to draw it a third of the way up. A third means we've broken our paper into 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to lightly draw my horizon line a third of the way across my page. It does not need to be straight. Next, we're going to find the top of our vase, which will be halfway up our paper in the middle. I'm going to find that with my finger, approximately where it might be. Put a little dot there. That's where the top of your vase is going to start. We want to leave room for our cutout sunflowers. Use this guide to help draw your vase. Now I want my vase to have a large opening to have lots of flowers. I'm going to draw a straight line in the middle of my paper. Now I'm drawing lightly because I'm going to erase. I'm going to draw an upside down triangle coming down towards my horizon line. Next, in the middle of my triangle, I'm going to create a round circle-like shape for the main part of my vase. Now at the bottom, you can add 2 diagonal lines coming out and connect them with 1 straight line. Next, we're going to add some curved lines. Grab your eraser and erase carefully any lines that are inside the outline of our vase. Your vase might look something like mine. Our vase is a ceramic vase. Think about in art class, clay projects you might have done, you cannot see through them. So our vase is going to be colored in using crayons, markers, colored pencils, anything you want. I'd also like you to think about all the different types of lines that you've already learned and create some type of pattern. I'd like you to think about different lines and elements in art that you've already learned. I'm going to create a pattern using lines on my vase. I'm first going to draw them in pencil. Now we're ready to start coloring in your vase using any supplies you have at home. I'm going to use crayons. I'm going to use shades of green and blue to have a nice contrast to my warm flowers above. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start by simply outlining my vase with my coloring supplies. Remember, think about what colors work well together, such as greens and blues. They are next to each other on the color wheel. They are called analogous colors. They blend well and look nice When the only colors I would suggest we do not use for this project for coloring our vase would be yellows and oranges. We use those in our flowers. We want to use cool colors for our vase. Alright, I have finished coloring in my vase using shades of green and blue. Let me redraw in my horizon line behind my vase. Our next step, you're going to need some crayons without the wrapper on them, like I have here. We're going to go around your house, outside, and I want you to do crayon rubbings for the background and the table surface for your vase. Now remember, our flowers are going to be warm yellows and oranges, so do not use yellow and oranges for the background. All right, I'm outside. I have on my sidewalk. With your parents' permission, I'm gonna go ahead and lay my crayon flat and push to create that texture rubbing for the surface where my vase is sitting. Look for another surface texture to use for the top part of your background. I've found this old basket and just flipped it over. Make sure you ask your parents' permission first. You're gonna lay the crayon flat and create the rubbing. Okay, as you can see, I've now laid my crayon flat, created a different texture rubbing on the top half using a different color, one that is not yellow or orange. I have my two different texture rubs, one on the bottom with a red color, one on the top with a blue color. Now I'm ready to start cutting out my sunflowers to collage onto the top. All right, we are ready to glue our flowers to our background. Now I have sorted my 8 flowers into larger and smaller. We want to glue down our larger flowers first. I have glue stick. You can use liquid glue. You could use tape and just roll it over. Anything you have to get these to stick. Now, before we glue them down, I want you to take each flower and bend up the flower petals so when you do glue the center down, the petals are coming off the page. That's why it was important to add some color to the back of our petals. So go ahead and do this to all 8 flowers, bending up the flower petals. All right, now you can see I have all 8 of my flower petals bent up around the outside edge. I'm going to go ahead and pick my largest flower to start in the center. Now we want to make sure we are overlapping as we put our flowers down. I'm going to get my glue stick. I'm going to put a good amount of glue just in that center, not around the edge. We want the edge to stick up. Now my first flower, right in the middle, overlapping some of my vase. Push down for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Now, you're going to fill in overlapping your flowers as you go. making sure there's no gaps from the flowers to the vase. All right, we are finished our Van Gogh sunflower collage. I had a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see all the layers and different flowers I have created. We wanted to thank you for working extra hard on this project. And remember, Mother's Day is coming up. There might be somebody special in your life that this could be the perfect Mother's Day present. Hope you guys had a great time. Stay creative. Bye.